Hey there, this is Mr. Portelos, and this is an introduction to Gmail and the proper use of sending and receiving and storing emails as well as organizing them. Now, some of you might have already started using email, but this is going to be a little overview of little tips and tricks on how to make email use better and safer. When you go onto Google or any of the pages within your account, you'll probably see the Gmail word up here or the waffle up there and Gmail. So if you go to that, you'll see that you might already have some emails. Okay, so the inbox is where the incoming mail comes in and is stored. You can also star important emails by clicking star. And as time progresses and you have a bunch of them, you're like, hey, you know what? Time for me to go back and see which ones are important for me to respond to or go back to for whatever reason. So that's what the starred means. And you could always uncheck. And now when I go back to starred, it's gone. Snoozed, let me go back to an email. Let's say you have an email and we'll just pick this one with right here. Let's say it was important to you, but you don't want to forget about it because you're going to have a lot of email and it's going to get pushed down to the bottom. Oh, that's right. All the newest email is on top. So this important email could be pushed down throughout the day. So you want to be reminded of it. And you could go here to snooze. Snooze means, hey, you know what? Why don't you bring that email back to the top tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Or you could set your own time by clicking pick a date and time. I use that a lot both on my desktop version and my phone version. I'll get into the phone app later. So that's what snoozed means. And then you can see all your snoozed emails right here. Sent email, of course, means the email that was sent from you out to others. Gmail is great that when you write an email, and I'll get into that now in a little bit, it constantly saves as you're writing it. So in case your computer shuts down or you go and do something else or you shut down the browser, it saves it as a draft, meaning you didn't send it yet, but you started to. There are more things here, like if you create folders and chats or you mark things as important, you can have them here. It's a little different than starred because you can set up some settings where Gmail tries to learn which emails are more important to you and tags them. You can also see scheduled emails. I'll get into that as well. But first, a little history about mail. Back in the day, and I don't know what date that is, but let's just say back in the day, someone would write a letter and use a service like the Pony Express, which is literally a horse or pony and most likely a guy carrying mail from one place to another around the country. Yes, it took a long time. So if you wanted to send a letter to grandma in California, it could literally take weeks to a month to get there. For now, why don't you go into your own Gmail and get a view like this, okay? Make sure you have the Gmail logo on the top left. Now, I want you to go here to the settings and click that. Scroll down, click settings. There are a lot of things going on here. A few things I use that I like. Sometimes you send an email and you realize, oh, I shouldn't have sent that. That's where undo send comes in. You can have it delay for 5 to 10 seconds. I've used that and it comes in handy. Either I caught a misspelling as it was being sent out, or I meant to say something else and I thought, hey, maybe I could write that in a different way. So I was able to click undo and it didn't send it. Sometimes you're sent an email with many people and you want to either reply to one person that sent the email or reply to everyone. You could do that in the email itself, but this is basically saying the default behavior, which is the button. So for example, if I was in an email here and I want to respond, see this? This is set to reply. Even if it was to a lot of people, you could have that automatically set up to reply to all, but that's a little preference for you and not a big deal for this lesson. I just want you to know how reply and reply to all. It's also, and I have to explain this in this lesson, it's very important that you do not reply to all for little things. For example, I'm a teacher in a school with 100 staff members. Principal sends out an email to all staff members, and if I want to write just to the principal, I'll use reply. There's no need to bog down everyone's email inbox with my response to my principal, unless I want everyone to see it. For example, if I had a good idea or I had a thought of something and I want the whole staff to know, I'll use reply all. But also, it's really try to stay away, and a lot of people do this, try and stay away from going reply to all and just saying thanks or got it or good idea. It just, time's important and we don't want to bog down everyone's email box. Scrolling down, make sure grammar suggestions are on. It's good that you get a little assistance as you work on your grammar from the Gmail app. And spelling suggestions, those should be on. Autocorrect on, but you know what? It's not a bad idea to have it off where it tells you, because if it's fixing it for you, then you're not really learning from it as much. As we scroll down, so check that on. Alright, this is where I'd like you to go also as well. Keyboard shortcuts, put that on if you're using a desktop. Now, if you're using a desktop, your signature file is here, but if you're using a mobile device only, you need to go into the settings of your Gmail app and find signature. What is a signature? If we go back here, we see that letters had the little signature area in the bottom where someone literally wrote their signature. Larry, love Larry, or whatever. Now in email, we have an area where, this is my test account, so I would just put your first name. You don't have to put your last name, but John. And you could dress it up. So for this assignment, you would definitely, the mandatory thing that you should be doing for this assignment so far is creating a signature file, a professional signature file. Professional meaning don't write Johnny Cool, because that's not your name. And I know you're kids, and at this point you're not really writing to supervisors and bosses and other people, but just try and get into the idea that you'll be eventually emailing and you want proper etiquette. Right? So I'm just going to write Johnny or John, and you're going to write your name. Just dash your name. If you want, you could dress it up like this. Bam. Maybe, if you want to throw a color in, sure. There it is, John. And you have to scroll all the way to the bottom and click Save Changes. Alright, so at this point of the video, you should have gone into your Gmail app, Gmail settings, and set up your signature. Okay, so now, writing an email. This is how this works. I'm going to go to Compose, because you're composing or starting an email. And as you can see, I don't have to write John every time because the signature is there. Now, I'm going to write an email to my favorite teacher, Mr. Portelos, and I'm just going to start typing the name. And because our school is set up in a way where our contacts are shared, I could just click, and that's the email. Now, let's say I want to write to Mr. Portelos, but I want to BCC someone else. For example, my parent. I want to just say, hey, I want my parent to know that I sent this assignment. BCC, which means blind carbon copy, will copy this email to the person I write here, but Mr. Portelos will not see that I'm copying it. Now there's many different reasons to use that, and I won't get into all of them now, but just sometimes maybe it's a secret thing, maybe it's not, but you want to copy someone and not let the person use it. If you don't mind and you want other people, for example, I write an email to Mr. Barone and I want to copy the entire staff or the assistant principal, right, Mr. Genovese. So the email is directed to Mr. Barone, but I want the other assistant principals to know about the email that I'm writing. Idea for school. Okay, and then you write, and here I'm going to show you how to attach a file. So if you want to attach a file that's on your computer, you click the paperclip and click Attach File. However, if it's a file that's in your Google Drive, then just head over here and insert file from Google Drive. You can click it, find the file, do a search for it, and attach it. Here you can insert an emoji, right? Tons of little emojis. Now, here's the thing that I like to use. Sometimes I'm working very late at night and decide to send an email, but I don't want the email to show up that I'm sending at 3 in the morning for whatever reason. Maybe because I don't want the recipients of the people receiving the email their phones to buzz in case they have their email set up on their phones. I don't want their phones to buzz at 8 o'clock in the morning. So what I would do is not click send, but move over here and click schedule send. And I would schedule it for the next morning at 7 a.m. Now, see here, it says undo. I'm not really going to send it because that would be silly if I just sent my supervisors these emails and not put anything in it. So I'm going to delete this email. All right. So why don't you try without spamming, which means sending a lot of unsolicited messages, try and send emails to your friends. I just want you to get comfortable with using email and how it works. Look, you could even turn Smart Compose on. So that means if I'm writing something and thinks it knows the rest of the sentence, I'll just press tab on the computer. Boom. Smart search emoji. Smile. All right. And then click send. All right. Now see here, I can undo for 10 seconds if I chose to bring that back. Now it's gone and I can only view the message. Once an email is sent, and this is important with digital citizenship, you're going to send something, and if you're angry and you write something that's hurtful and it gets sent out, it's out. There's no bringing it back once that 10 seconds is gone or whatever time you have set up. Sometimes there's no seconds. So please be careful on what you're sending out. Someone can make a copy of that and use it against you forever. Someone could copy it and put it online. So please, if you're upset about something, don't use email as a way to get back at someone. I will say that there are ways, in case you're being harassed, or let's say you're being emailed by someone you don't want. Let's say I'm Johnny Test, a student, and this guy, Mr. Portelos, is emailing me. It's actually these 3 dots over here, and it's the same on the phone app. I could click block this person, but please just remember, be responsible with the use of email. Not just here at school, but in the workplace. You can get rid of an email 2 different ways. 1, I know I definitely don't want this email. I never want to see it again. I don't care if I ever lose this email right here. I'll click delete. However, if I have an email here that I read, okay, I got it, but I might want to get back to it one other time, but I want it out of my way, I click archive. Archive will get rid of that email. It's gone. You won't see it here. Like this one. I'm going to click. Even check it this way, archive. It's gone. But if I ever want to find it again, I can search for it and it finds it. It's just one way to declutter your inbox, because as you can see, there's a lot of emails and you can spend a lot of time going through. So you could do it by opening each one or checking here. Something I forgot to talk about was the subject line. It's important for the subject line, and it's professional, to be short and specific about what the email is going to be about, because your recipient is going to have a lot of emails and they're going to see the subject line right here. So if your subject line is about project 7.8, I am having trouble with 7.8, and it's to Mr. Portelos, please don't make the subject line hi, right? Because when I get it, it's just, let me show you what it looks like here. It's just going to be hi. And yeah, I could sometimes see a little bit of what it's about, but just try and keep it detailed. Again, the search really helps. If you want to search for an email from someone, you could just start typing their name. Okay, I want every email to and from Mr. Portelos. And it asks you anytime, or do you want it older than a month? Things like that. Okay, so that's about it for starters of Gmail. Practice proper use of email. Get used to using email. You'll be using email for a very long time with school and work and family. Okay, any questions? Let me know. Enjoy.